Good afternoon. This is the House Appropriations Committee. It is Wednesday, May 28th, 2025. It's just after 3:30 in the afternoon, and we are here to do a straw poll on H 472, which we are calling the OPR bill, but it has a more technical name than Aaron's agenda. Okay, an act relating to professions and occupations regulated by the Office of Professional Regulation. The bill started in the House, went to the Senate, who had a proposal of amendment and changed things and added things, and we are further amending that bill. So we have Tim maybe to talk to us about it a little bit, and then the amendment. Do you want to come join us at the table?
The record, Tim Devlin, Legislative Counsel. Thank you very much for having me in today.
So we want to keep this, we don't need all 27 pages,
Right.
It's very high level and because, yeah, that'd be great.
Sure. So just to understand, the amendment as coming out of the Senate Gov Ops, the Government Operations Committee, and then passed out by the entirety of it, the Senate. This will look relatively familiar to you because the first half of it up through, let's see, page 11 really hasn't been materially changed. There were some slight changes to the report massage therapy establishments, there as in which stakeholders should be interested in what they should report on. Aside from that, the lion's share of the what was added to the bill has to do with licensure of early childhood educators serving in programs regulated by the Child Development Division. And that really constitutes pages 11 through 27.
Okay, so the first part, which we did see because it had the 170,000, that was really the appropriation that we were dealing with for the mental health executive officer. We put the money in the budget. It was one time because the OPR fees are going to be covering it. That's the plan in the future. So we put it in for 1 year, one-time money. That sound familiar?
That's
Saying that right? Okay, and everybody here remembers that because we've had that conversation. And so we do not need to go through the early childhood educators program, except to know that there was money in there. That was the other reason it would have been coming. Right, that we, and that's what our amendment is going to take care of. So we don't really need to know all about this because of the amendment. So do we have any questions on this part so far? Everybody, we're good? Okay. Want to talk to us about the amendment?
Sure. So that takes care of the amendment from the Senate. The amendment for you is draft 1.2 dated today. It's just really a single pager. And this comes from Representatives Byron, Coffin, Hango, Hooper, Morgan, Nugent, Pincinel, and Stone, all members of the House Government Operations Committee.
Is that the whole committee?
Almost the entire committee.
Okay.
So the first instance of amendment has to do with the creation of that new position, OPR. And this is again, is in section 12 of the bill, that position being the executive officer for the regulation of mental health professions. And let's see, as it left the House and went over to the Senate, it was deemed to be one new permanent full-time exempt position. And this would actually change that to one new permanent full-time and classified position. The second instance of amendment removes the latter half of the bill having to do with early childhood educators, moves all of those. And then the third instance of amendment really just renumbers sections that were left by that gap and corrects the effective dates so that there's no longer references to certain sections that would need to be implemented for those early childhood educator regulation.
Mike, did you have a question?
I do. Can you a little background as to the second instance of amendment being removed?
Sure. As far as what it is removing, or
I understand what is being removed, but there's some background to why.
as to why the is being offered for amendment. That's beyond my charge.
So I'll give you a little background. This was put in by on the Senate side.
Yeah.
There was no testimony on the House side. This would normally go through Human Services, House Human Services Committee, as well as GovOp. And so it was a brand new program. They were standing up with a lot of money in it. It was tried to be put in the budget too, and no one heard about any of it on the House side. So it was felt that that this should be taken up in a future year.
So is this the two positions for $320,000?
And more than that, yeah.
We did find their mental health position that they had requested earlier on.
This is in regards to creating a credential for early educators.
Right, the credential for early educators had more than the two positions, so it had two positions. There was licensure of 262,000. They wanted 3 new permanent positions for 628,000 for licensure, and another 1.4 million to cover renewal fees and licensure fees for the next year. So if you go back and look at the original bill, you'll see all those numbers in there, Mike. But it was a lot of money, a lot of positions in a tough year when this body had never seen anything about it.
This money is coming out of child care money.
It says from the general fund.
But I-
It's still general. But it has not been vetted by this body, which is really the main thing. So we can do a change. So we have a second year of a biennium. Any other, Lynn?
Yeah, my understanding is that the childhood fund doesn't do licensure, it's supposed to pay families and providers. The childhood.
So are you turning that off by any chance? Thank you. Sorry, we can't hear you when that's going.
Yeah, I was gonna say that I don't think that the childhood, early childhood fund.
I'm not sure. I am not an expert on what it can be used for, but it's childcare related, so it may be able to be used for that. I don't know. It may not be, and that's why it's all general fund. I don't know. But this, if, appropriate, then this body will also take it up next year. But we need, starting up a new program without both bodies taking testimony and understanding it is not how we like to do things. So. All right, any questions on this? All right, so it's a straw poll. Do we need to do we need to do the amendment. I guess we don't need to do the bill as amended. I think it's just the amendment.
Just the amendment.
Just the amendment? Yeah, just the amendment. So is there a motion to do a straw poll to favorably support the amendment? John? Thank you. Any further discussion on the amendment? Hearing none, when the clerk is ready, a straw poll.
Representative Blumenle,
Yes.
Representative Dickinson,
Yes,
Representative Harris,
Yes.
Representative Kaczynska,
Yes.
Representative LaRoche,
Yes.
Representative Rowicki,
Yes.
Representative Nigro,
Yes.
Representative Squirrel, yes, Representative Stevens.
Yes.
Representative Yakuboni,
Yes.
and Representative Shaw.
Yes.
11-2.
Thank you for coming in. We appreciate it. Thank you all. So this will be on the floor at 4:30. And we think, well, I guess we're waiting for Ways and Means. That's the question.
So I should
Yes.
be there.
And another curveball. Nothing that.
Well, so we may have another bill coming, pause for a second, Matt. The cannabis bill may be coming to our committee at some point. That's H 321. The flood bill that I thought was coming, 397, we are going to concur. Everything else in the committee of conference at the moment. So we may only have one more day. We might have two.